You ever have one of those moments where your life feels like it's been hijacked by someone else's crazy? Like, you're just trying to live your life, keep your head down, and suddenly you're staring down a $25,000 lien on your home for something you didn't even do? That was me, Jake Miller, a regular guy, a coder who loves his coffee black and his weekends quiet, until the Pinewood Grove HOA decided I was their personal punching bag. Let me take you back to where it all started. I'm a software guy, right? I spend my days untangling bugs and lines of code, finding that one stupid semicolon that breaks everything. My home's a modest townhouse in Pinewood Grove, a tidy little neighborhood in Carter County, Tennessee. It's got those cookie-cutter lawns, a community pool nobody uses, and an HOA that acts like they own your soul. But my real escape? That's my cabin, a little 10-acre slice of heaven in Laurel County, 80 miles away, tucked in the hills where the only noise is the wind and maybe a deer sniffing around at dawn. I built it with my own hands, a promise to my grandpa who taught me how to swing a hammer and respect the land. That cabin's my reset button, no Wi-Fi, just a wood stove and silence. Then the letters started coming. First one showed up in a fancy envelope, Pinewood Grove HOA logo gleaming like it was mocking me. Signed by Melissa Carter, the HOA president, it said I had an unapproved structure on my property, violating some dusty bylaw about sheds and gazebos. I laugh at me. Townhouse has a postage stamp yard, barely big enough for a grill. No shed, no gazebo, not even a birdhouse. I figured it was a mix-up, tossed it in the junk drawer. But a week later, another letter, this one meaner, slapping me with a $50 daily fine. I called the HOA office, got a board receptionist who said, "Talk to Tom Grayson, compliance guy." Left a voicemail. Crickets. My neighbor, Emily, a sweet librarian who keeps her blinds drawn to avoid HOA drama, caught me at the mailbox one day. "You get one of those letters too?" she asked, voice low like we were plotting a heist. "They're on a power trip, Jake. Melissa got re-elected, and now she's out to prove she's the queen bee. She told me about the Wilsons down the street, fined $400 for a mailbox that was too blue. I started to feel it, this knot in my gut, like I was being watched. Then the third letter hit, certified mail, with a grainy photo of a lumber truck parked at my cabin. Not my townhouse, me cabin, 80 miles away. Melissa, Tom, and their treasurer buddy, Carl Weaver, had dug up my cabin's deed, found some hardware store's social media post from when I built it, and decided my off-grid retreat was their business. The letter listed violations: unapproved roof color, a compost pile, a wood stove. They wanted architectural plans submitted for approval, plus $4,000 in retroactive fines. I was floored. These people thought they could control a cabin 2 counties away. It was like telling me they could fine me for wearing socks they didn't like. The final blow came in a thick envelope, a $25,000 lien on my townhouse. They'd relabeled their fake fines as assessments to justify it, chaining my home to their vendetta. I stood there, paper shaking in my hand, birds chirping like it was just another day. But this wasn't a clerical error anymore, this was war. Melissa, Tom, and Carl weren't just petty. They were obsessed, drunk on their little fiefdom, and I was their target because my cabin dared to exist outside their beige empire. I called my buddy's lawyer, Rachel Nguyen, a woman who could make a shark rethink its life choices. Over the phone, I laid it out: letters, fines, the lien. She didn't laugh, didn't sigh, just said, "Jake, this is next-level lunacy. They're using HOA funds to play dictator on a property they don't own. I'm in." Rachel's voice had this calm, lethal edge, like she was already sharpening her knives. She told me to stay quiet, let them think I was scared, and start gathering evidence. First thing, I drove to the cabin and set up trail cams: gate, porch, mailbox, compost pile. For weeks, nothing but raccoons and a nosy owl. Then, one night, my phone pinged at 1 a.m. Grainy footage showed a dark SUV pulling up, headlights off. A guy in a hoodie, not Tom, stepped out, measuring my mailbox like it was evidence in a murder trial, snapping photos of my compost pile like it was a drug bust. My blood boiled. This wasn't just overreach. It was a violation, some stranger creeping on my land. I sent the clips to Rachel, who said, "We've got a trespasser. Let's see who he is." I called the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, got Deputy Sarah Boone, who sounded like she'd heard every kind of crazy. "So, some city slickers sneaking around your cabin at midnight to measure your mailbox?" she said, half laughing. Send me the videos. I did, and an hour later, she called back. Meet Jerry Tate, private investigator from Carter County. Hired by your HOA to play spy. Want to press charges or play this smart? I chose smart. My grandpa always said, don't just win a fight, make sure they regret starting it. Rachel arranged a meeting with Jerry at the sheriff's office. He was a tired-looking guy in a cheap suit, hands shaky, knowing he was caught. Melissa Carter hired me, he mumbled. Said you were a problem homeowner. Needed proof of violation citing, chimney, the works. Rachel leaned in, voice like ice. Jerry, you're looking at a trespassing charge that'll tank your license. Or you can hand over every email, every invoice, and walk away. He didn't blink, just opened his laptop and sent us everything. The emails were gold. Melissa wrote, we need to crush Jake Miller. Show the neighborhood nobody defies us. They'd spent $3,000 of HOA money on Jerry, plus $8,000 on a drone and a used cop car with Pinewood Grove security decals. My neighbors' dues, my dues, funding their witch hunt. But the real jackpot came from an unexpected ally, Nancy Holt, the HOA's assistant treasurer. Rachel sent her a letter, polite but pointed, hinting she could be liable for signing off on those shady invoices. 2 days later, Nancy texted me. Diner on Main, 10 a.m. alone. At the diner, Nancy looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, clutching her coffee like a lifeline. I'm not here for them, she whispered. They're stealing from us, Jake. Melissa, Carl, Tom, they treat the HOA like their personal piggy bank. She slid me a thumb drive. Every receipt, every transfer, it's all there. Drone rentals, motel bills for Jerry, even that fake cop car Tom loves driving around like he's in a bad action movie. I held that drive like it was a grenade, knowing it could blow their whole operation apart. We needed a big move, something to expose them publicly. Rachel had an idea, bait them to the cabin. I called Emily, asked her to spread a rumor that I was building an unapproved hunting shed. Emily laughed. Oh, Jake, our neighbor Pete's gonna have that rumor halfway to Kentucky by noon. Pete, bless him, was the neighborhood gossip, terrified of the HOA but unable to resist a juicy story. Sure enough, the bait worked. Saturday morning, I'm on my cabin porch, sheriff's car hidden nearby, a news van parked down the road. A black SUV rolls up. Melissa, Carl, and Tom, ready to bust me. Melissa bangs on my gate, shouting, Jake Miller, we're here for a compliance check. Before I can answer, Sheriff Daniel steps out, all calm authority, with Deputy Boone behind him. Morning, folks, he says, thumbs in his belt. You're a long way from Pinewood Grove. Got no jurisdiction here. The news camera is rolling, catching Melissa's face as it drains of color, Carl sweating through his suit, Tom's tough guy act crumbling. You have no power here, the sheriff says, and I swear the camera zooms in like it's a movie. The news clip goes viral. Local HOA humiliated, trying to bully a guy 80 miles from their turf. My neighbors lose it. Emily calls me. Jake, people are pissed. They're ready to burn the clubhouse down. She organizes a petition to recall the board, and by dinner, she's got signatures from 70% of Pinewood Grove. At the recall meeting, it's chaos, people shouting, Melissa banging her gavel like it still means something. Pete, our nervous gossip, hands out highlighters he calls freedom pens, blushing when someone cheers. Emily holds up the petition, voice steady. We're done paying for your power trip. The vote's unanimous. Melissa, Carl, and Tom are out, booed as they slink out the door. But the lien's still there, a legal noose around my townhouse. Rachel files for an emergency injunction, arguing it's a slap suit meant to silence me. In court, she's a maestro, showing maps of my cabin far from Pinewood Grove, playing the trail cam videos, reading Melissa's emails about crushing me. The judge, a no-nonsense guy named Carter, doesn't blink. Ms. Carter, he says, voice like gravel. Did you write this? Melissa mumbles, yes. Their lawyer tries to spin it, but Carter shuts him down. If Mr. Miller owned a boat in Miami, could you fine him for the anchor? The room laughs, and I feel the weight lift. The lien's frozen. The board ordered to repay every cent they spent. $11,500 from their own pockets. Then a DA stands up, announcing charges, fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. The gallery gasps. It's over. 6 months later, I'm at my cabin, feet in the creek, the quiet I fought for wrapping around me like a blanket. Melissa, Carl, and Tom took plea deals, paid fines, sold their homes to cover the HOA's losses. Emily's running the new board, transparent, fair, no more petty rules. Pinewood Grove feels like a neighborhood again, not a prison. But here's the thing, sometimes I wonder if I went too far. I wanted justice, sure, but watching them lose everything, their faces gray in that courtroom. Was that justice or revenge? I don't know. What do you think? Ever dealt with an HOA or a bully who thought they owned you? Drop a comment. Tell me your story. What's fair when someone tries to take what's yours? Hit that like button if you're glad we stuck it to M, and subscribe for more stories about fighting the good fight.